Hey everybody, welcome to the Exclusively Solo Podcast. Before we get started with today's episode, I just want to do a couple quick announcements. By a couple, I mean just one. We are on multiple platforms. That's right, Exclusively Solo Podcast is not just on Spotify, it's not just on YouTube, and it's not just solely on Anchor. We are now on Breaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and everything else that you can probably think of. And I'm very excited to announce that. So whatever platform you're very, very much comfortable with listening to podcasts on, I'm pretty much going to be on there with this podcast as well. Whether it's Spotify, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, we will be there. All you have to do is search up Exclusively Solo Podcast and you'll find us there. It's that easy. And of course, we'll also be on YouTube as well if you rather listen to me on YouTube. Just for the record, there is no video feed, so it is just audio on YouTube as well, and that usually goes out a whole lot later than the audio version on everything else that I just said. Again, Exclusively Solo Podcast is out pretty much everywhere you can think of. So if you want to go and check me out there on all those platforms, you can, and I really do hope that you do. And if you want, give me a 5-star rating. And if you don't want to, do it anyways, because I'm telling you to do it. Please just do it. I love you. Maybe I don't love you directly. You know, I don't know who you are. I really don't. But if you give me 5 stars on anything, I will do nothing about it. All right. Again, you can find me everywhere. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can think of. And again, of course, youtube.com. And actually, you know what? There is another thing to talk about, the Spotify situation. Right now, I believe there are 2 versions of my podcast out there, 2 different links. Right now, still trying to figure out how we can fix that, talking to both Anchor and Spotify, because it did duplicate from a different website I was trying to use before. And so we're trying to get rid of the duplicate. If there's no duplicates while I'm talking about this, even though I just checked both links are still working, just ignore what I'm saying right now. Think of it as the ramblings of a 24-year-old man who is dying to get out in the world and see people, but can't do it, and so he's doing this to cope. And you're listening to his breakdown. Other than that, there are 2 versions of the podcast. There are 2 versions of the podcast out there. Please follow the one where this episode will be aired on. So don't bother with the one that's just the first episode. Please go and follow the one with the second episode. It's only an issue on Spotify. It's not an issue on any other podcast app or any other app that this podcast is on. Again, follow the Spotify account that has more than just the first episode, and you will be good to go. Thank you so much. Now, enough of the scripted shit. Let's get on to the show. God damn it. There we go. That was really loud. I apologize. Now, I'm going to take the time to fill up. Yeah, there we go. It's a little ASMR for today's episode. What am I pouring, you may ask? I am pouring a nice, delicious, cancer-filled, fire-retardant Mountain Dew into a silver Cody cup that I got from H-E-B. Oh yeah, you can hear the ice going on. Okay, that's enough. It's a little bit too sexual sounding. We're not a sexual podcast. If you're looking for sex, may I advise you go on Tinder, since that is what it is all about these days. Not that it's never not been that way, right? But it's more so that way, especially with all the COVID shit. You'd think that people would stop being very sexual when we can't see each other, that people would probably want to have more intimate relations with each other. You know, like, fuck sex. I just want someone to hold and hug and cry to. Maybe that's just me. It is just me. But, you know, this is just turning on into a rant about why I hate Tinder and why I just hate dating apps in general, but why I still use them. So I guess we could start off the podcast with that. I have Tinder. And I still have them. I also use Bumble, which I'm going to delete because Bumble is just horrendous. And then I have OkCupid, which I'm also going to delete because it's horrendous. And Badoo, which I'm also, you hear what I'm saying? I'm only going to keep Tinder because, one, it's probably the most, at least these days, it is the most popular dating app that we have. Or, sorry, it's not a dating app. It's a fuck me app. There's really, I don't think anybody's gone on a legit Tinder date. Excuse me, every time I record a podcast, I get hiccups and burps. And I had just woken up like an hour and 30 minutes ago. That's right, I'm not getting correct sleep. But hey, I feel great, refreshed, took a shower, and now I'm here, recording today's podcast. So Tinder. Aren't I just great at doing this stuff? So I have a Tinder, and I decided, since I'm still not going out, I might as well continue the dating scene, but up it up a little bit. I've been using Tinder free since pretty much I downloaded it in college, right? But I decided, you know what? I'm going to splurge the money to get Tinder Plus. Just Tinder Plus. I'm not going to get Tinder Gold. I don't need that, right? I don't need to know who likes me, even though every day I open up, I'm like, God damn it, who are you? And why haven't I seen you on my feed? Probably because you don't have your profile active anymore. Anyway, I got Tinder Gold. Not Tinder Gold, sorry. So yeah, I got Tinder Plus. My biggest gripe is that, I've got a little bit of Jew in me, right? So I'm very stingy with my money, whether I have a lot or not. And I have a lot right now. But I was hoping to be spending $9.99 on Tinder Plus, because that's the original price of it. If you haven't heard, Tinder has done this really shitty thing where people under the age of 30 can get Tinder Plus for $9.99, while people over the age of 30 have to pay $19.99, creating this age gap difference between pay. Why? I don't really understand why. I guess I can see where they're coming from. People over the age of 30 probably have better income, and probably I don't know. I think that might be their excuse for it. So they are more willing to pay $19.99 rather than somebody who's either 18 or in their early 20s and they're going through college and they don't have the money to pay for Tinder Plus, so that's why they make it $9.99. However, they got in trouble in Australia because Australia has a law where you can't discriminate against pricing different people with goods. For example, you can't charge like a carton of milk. Like, let's say it's $1.99 for just a carton of milk. You can't charge a different price to somebody who is 35 and say, oh, that carton of milk, that's actually $2.99 for you. Sorry, bub. It's only $1.99 for people under 35. You can't do that. You can't discriminate against race, age, gender, you name it, when it comes to selling a product in Australia. So, Australia's like, hey, what you're doing is a big fucking no-no. And so I believe they sued Tinder last year. This is a last year thing. And I think most recently California sued Tinder for the exact same thing. I'm going off just pure memory of when I read this like 2 months ago or a month ago when I started Tinder Plus. Because I was outraged. I was like, why the fuck is this not $9.99? Because a friend of mine bought it for $9.99. But he did it before the pandemic happened. And there's a lot of things that these fucking dating apps have done since the pandemic, like up their prices for their premium content. For example, I did OkCupid's Tinder Plus variation because I was having more luck on there finding people and talking to people than I was on Tinder. So I was like, you know what? I'll pay $9.99 just for 1 month just to see how it goes. I usually do this with any subscription thing that I do. So I was like, okay, let's go for it. $9.99 right out the window. And it worked for a while, but then it's like, well, the only reason why I got it was just to see who is liking me. And then after a while, I wasn't getting any likes. And then after a while, nobody was responding to my messages. Not because I'm a bad fucking conversationalist, but because people just don't have good attention spans. And like me, and like the people that stopped messaging me, probably stopped opening the app. Because it takes time to go and open an app. Not a lot of it, but it takes most people's time. Lazy people's time. If you're lazy, you're probably not going to open Tinder or open OkCupid and yada, 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 lazy people shit. So then, of course, I never renewed it. And then months pass, and then bam, COVID hits, and then I'm like, fuck. Time to start using these apps more frequently so I can talk to people and meet people. And then I noticed a bunch of apps changed. More so Bumble. If you're not familiar with what Bumble is a dating app, of course. But it's more catered around women's choice. Think of it as the Sadie Hawkins dance of dating apps. On Tinder, it's both male and female swiping left and right, and that's what initiates the match. Yada, yada, yada. Same thing as Bumble. But on Tinder, when you match, any one of you can message the other to start the conversation. On Bumble, the woman has to initiate the first move. They have to message you when there's a match. Now, what happens if they don't message you? Well, on Bumble, when you match with someone, they have 24 hours to message you back. When they don't message you in those 24 hours, the match goes away. With money, you can buy that match again, or with the free version of Bumble, you can use one 24-hour, it's not a skip, it's this thing, it's a renewal, a 24-hour renewal, where you can refresh the time allotted for them to message you back. And, they advertise that as, oh my God, you see this guy pressed refresh on the timer, meaning he thinks you're interesting. You should probably message him. Or it's just, hey, this guy just wasted a fucking renewal on your time. You're still not going to message him, but we're just letting you know that he did it. If you have notifications on, by the way. If you don't, fuck you. Which is a common trend amongst people on Tinder, saying, I don't have notifications on for this app, so just follow me on my Instagram. Oh, and if you try to message me on my Instagram, I'm not going to respond to you. So, just give me internet clout. Like my profile. Follow me. I don't give a shit about you. Which is what Tinder and Bumble, even Bumble and other apps, that's what they're used for. I will say, OkCupid and Badoo being really shitty made apps and just really shitty dating apps in general, they at least have people on there that actually want to initiate dating. Whereas on Tinder and Bumble, you're just getting people saying, I don't come on here, just follow my Instagram or my Snapchat or Twitter. Or it's like, I'm not here for anything serious or for a relationship. I just want followers. And it's like, really? Do you not have enough on Instagram? Just do it on Instagram. Do it on Twitter. Just put a bunch of hashtags in your post. People will see the hashtags when they're looking at the explore menus and shit. Don't waste time on Twitter with other people who are some people that are trying to look for a fuck, and some people actually trying to look for a date, trying to look for someone to connect with, someone to talk to, whether it be just your friends or for something serious. Don't waste people's time by saying, just go follow my Instagram. Another part of that is like when people say, I just don't know how to write a bio. I'm like, just put what you like on it at least. Like, I remember this one chick had put, like, I like boba tea, working out, and The Office. That's my personality. That's it. Also, here's my Instagram. I'm like, fuck you. Like, at least she put stuff that she likes, but then she was like, that's my personality. And I'm like, that's not a personality. You're just fucking dumb. But that's my gripe with most of these dating apps now. Other than their ridiculous pricing because COVID. It's the fact that these people they don't give a shit anymore. And the fact that these apps are still living, breathing things out there in the world is kind of annoying because they're not being used for their purpose anymore. They're being used alternatively, kind of like how Pornhub's for porn, but people are posting YouTube videos on there because it kind of works like the same way, where you can post your gameplay and somebody will actually go on there and like it, and you can make profit off of that. It's strange. But back onto the topic of Bumble and why I fucking hate it more than anything is because it used to offer more free stuff when you didn't pay for it. Back then, Bumble, I say back then like it's been like years, just like months before COVID. I would even say even the beginning of this year, I remember using Bumble, and one of the features that Bumble has that I liked a lot was it messed with the gyroscope in your phone. So let's say you accidentally swiped left on someone, and you're like, oh fuck, I want to go back. I want to review that image. I mean, I want to review her bio. I wasn't just staring at her looks. What do you think I am? Some womanizer? Some fucking? What do you think I'm? Some fucking man? I don't know. No. So you could back up by using the gyroscope in your phone. You shake your phone, and then you'll get a notification saying, hey, you have 3 swipe backs left. And then you just swipe, and boom, the profile comes back. And every day you get at least 3 chances to swipe 3 different people that you might want to overlook back, right? Ever since COVID, they got rid of that. You now have to pay for their premium subscription to do that. That used to be a free thing that everybody could do, and it was time-based. You can only do it 3 times out of any day, and it would renew every 24 hours. So let's say you only used it once, well, then you'll get 3 back the next day. Doesn't matter. It was almost like how super likes work on Tinder, even though when you're not on a premium Tinder account like Tinder Plus, you only get 1 super like a day. So you'd have to use that sparingly. When you have Tinder Plus, you get, I think, 3 or 5 super likes. So you can use those daily. And then when you run out, you're put on a 24-hour timer or like something like that. I believe it's 24 hours. Hold on, I'm going to take a sip of my Mountain Dew. Ever since I poured it, I haven't taken a drink. Also, don't judge. I did wake up an hour and 30 minutes ago, and my first beverage of the day is a Mountain Dew. I don't care about myself that much. Anyway, so all these prices just bumped up. So I was like, okay, so then how much is Tinder, or not Tinder, Bumble Plus then? Whatever the fuck it's called. It's $19.99. So it's not just Tinder. It's fucking everywhere. Okay, Cupid, Badoo. I think Badoo is actually $9.99, but Badoo sucks. But all these apps are doing $20 for their premium service, or they're doing this bullshit fake crap where it's like, look, if you do this, you save so and so money for 6 months if you pay $8.99, when in reality it's like you're paying this much. So for example, Tinder Plus, I think it was like 6 months for like $8.99, or it was 12 months for $8.99, something stupid like that. So I thought, okay, so every month I'll just be paying $8.99, and when I want to, I'll just get rid of it, right? No, up front you have to pay $100 and something. I think it was like $150 something. It was something outrageous. It was one of those options. I was like, hey, yeah, for this much a month you can do, for like $150 up front, you do this. And I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'll just pay the $20 for the month, and then just when it gets close to closing time, I'm gonna fucking just not use it anymore. It's not really worth it. The only thing is that, yeah, cool, you can swipe right multiple times a day without any drawback. You're not put on a limit, but I don't get that many. The way these apps work, right, if you don't know, is you have to be constantly using these apps in order to get matches, or you have to be beautiful, and I'm not beautiful. I'm handsome, and handsome people don't get to fuck on Tinder. Anyways, the issue with these apps is that you have to keep a common presence on them in order for you to be visible to other people on the app. If you just make your Tinder profile and just don't swipe at all, you're going to get lost in the sea of other people that are constantly using it and that are constantly online, daily swiping. And this is prevalent for people who have like Tinder Plus, where they can be constantly swiping without any drawbacks or anything blocking them from doing so. So, for example, I have gotten more matches because I've been more frequent on it. But even then, I don't think it's worth it because I don't spend all my day doing it. I usually just get on Tinder when I'm bored, and that's a daily thing. I'm bored almost daily. So when I'm done with Tinder, I just go and do something else. And I mean, nowadays I just get extra swipes. That's pretty much it. Like, I'll be swiping when I'm in call with my broys, my boys, and we're waiting for a match to start. I'll just pull out my phone real quick and just start swiping left or right on fucking Tinder. And then put my phone down, play the game, next match, so on and so forth. Or if we're just talking, watching a movie together, whatever, just it's there in the background. And it's just not worth it. It really isn't. So that's why because even then, without Tinder Plus, I was still getting matches. Wasn't a lot, but I was still getting matches, and I was still getting the same fucking results. People not messaging back because they themselves don't fucking open their apps, and they probably don't have notifications on for this fucking app. So they're not getting these notifications that I'm sending them a message, especially the ones that just say, hey, here's my Tinder, here's my Tinder on Tinder. Here's my Instagram. Here's my Snapchat, and here's my Twitter. Those people most likely will not have their notifications on for Tinder. Especially if they go, I'm not on here often. It's like, yeah, no shit. Probably not. But you swiped right on me and we matched. So you're here. So why can't you just message me back? Or at least say, hey, go fuck yourself and unmatch me. I don't know. I just something. So that way I can feel like I'm not wasting my time or my fucking money on this app because people just don't want to message back. The last 5 people I matched within this week have not messaged me back. And you might think, oh, it's because you weren't quickie enough. You didn't say anything that engaged me to message you back. Bitch, you didn't even open the message to begin with. So don't give me that shit. And second of all, that bullshit of like, oh, you didn't send me anything engaging. It's like, what the fuck do you expect me to tell you? No, I'm not going to fucking give you my best pickup line or my best dad joke. That shit is boring as fuck and stale. The reason why you're asking for that is just so you can get attention, but also because you want one of those magical Tumblr moments of those, my nose is stuffy. I'm starting to get allergies. You want those magical Tumblr moments where you see these fucking pages sharing these quirky fucking conversations from Tinder of people saying dad jokes to each other or giving themselves really shitty or really sexual one-liners, and it's like, oh my god, you're so funny. Like, you want that. You're not gonna get it. Sorry, there's a reality barrier, and you're fucking smacking your head against it. Stop it. Just stop it. The reality is you're not gonna get that man that's gonna do that. You need to stop fucking asking for it. Because I guarantee you, if I put that on my profile, I say, hey, give me your best pickup line. Nobody's going to open with a fucking pickup line. Only once did somebody open with a pickup line. I didn't even fucking ask for it. It was on Bumble. She messaged me something weird about fucking dicks or something. It was a sexual pickup line. And then I gave her my version and never heard from her again because she probably thought I was sexually harassing her. Because fuck that, right? Double fucking standards. But yeah, that's it. It pisses me off, these apps, and yet I still use them. It's like how Call of Duty Modern Warfare pisses me off, but yet I still fucking play it because it's the only good shooter out right now in terms of just anywhere. Fucking Battlefield 5 ruined everything. I'm not going to go on the video game tangent. We're sticking with the dating app tangent. We're not going anywhere else. I'm going to say hey. I'm going to say hi. If you think that's boring, bitch, that is the common way to say hello. If I say hi to you on the street, you're just going to go, ugh, boring. Like, really? What do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to really open up to you with? Because it's not a fucking dad joke that you want. It's not a fucking goddamn fucking pickup line. You don't want that. What do you really want me to tell you when we match? Sometimes what I'll do is if they even have a bio to begin with, I'll see what they like and then I'll ask them about it. Like, some chick had said that she likes flying kites. So I said, hey, that's pretty. So I messaged her. I was like, hey, when's the last time you've flown a kite? because I haven't flown one for at least a year, which thinking about it in retrospect, that's not that long ago, but it was a mini fucking ladybug kite, and I really felt like that demasculined me. So I told her that, hoping it would get a chuckle, right? Haven't heard from her since. And she hasn't opened it. She hasn't opened the message, so I'm just going to assume this bitch just doesn't have notifications on or just doesn't give a shit. And also, she also plugged her Instagram, which I did not follow. So maybe that's it. And I just to go back on that small one, I love the people that say, I don't use this app that much anymore, message me on Instagram. Some of them don't message you back, even when you follow them, right? So that's a lie. Second of all, I love the ones that say, don't message me on Instagram unless we matched here. And it's like, well, shit. I can just lie, right? I can lie and say we matched, but then I unmatched you just so I can talk to you on Instagram. I could easily do that. And they would have no fucking proof. They could not disprove me. They couldn't do anything. And bam, I'd be in, baby. I'd be in. But no, I don't do that because that's fucking weird. But also, I just know for a fact these people will not talk to me if I just go to their fucking Instagram. Because I already tried it before. And they don't message you even though they say, I'll message anyone or blah, 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 blah. It's bullshit. They just want your fucking follow. They just want your internet. They just want your internet. They just want the clout. That's all they want. And that's all they care about. It's fucking, I hate it. It's just such a fucking waste of time. God, I am sad. But yeah, like, in this day and age, you'd think people would want to try the virtual thing more because of COVID, because people don't want to go outside and risk getting sick. You'd think people would want and would even go to the lengths to do this because they want to keep themselves safe. No, they don't. I mean, it's the U.S. Nobody gives a shit anymore. Even though we're having rising, cases again, they don't care. They will go outside. They don't give a shit, which is really that's just a whole other fucking can of worms. Goddamn, that's just terrible. So yeah, if you're gonna download a dating app, just do Tinder. Because if you're trying to fuck, you'll get your fuck. You'll probably get COVID too, or herpes, whichever one hits you first. You'll get that, and just it's just the most popular one out there. Like it's fine. You don't have to pay. Oh yeah, quickly getting back. God, this sucks. I'm sorry. I'm really bad at going off on a tangent, forgetting where I came from. The whole swiping thing, why Tinder Plus doesn't mean anything, or how you stay relevant on these apps. You have to constantly be swiping daily, but if you don't have Tinder Plus, you're kind of limited to a certain amount of swipes. You're limited to the amount of swipe rights. You can swipe left till the cows come home, and Tinder doesn't give a shit. It's only when you swipe right, they're like, yeah, we're gonna limit your swipes on that. So people who don't have Tinder Plus are at a disadvantage because they can only swipe right a certain amount of time each day, rather than someone who has Tinder Plus and they're constantly swiping daily with no restrictions. So they're on the platform. They're being shown, to other Tinder users more frequently than you are. And that's the same thing on every app. Bumble, OkCupid, all those apps. If you don't show up to use that app, you're done. It's kind of like how when you don't do a podcast for long enough, right? Like, let's say if I just posted one episode and then for a whole month I didn't upload a second one, I'm pretty sure nobody would give a shit anymore, right? Same thing on my YouTube. Same thing with my Twitch. Especially on my Twitch. Nope, I barely have like 6 followers, and that's only because I'm very bad at just wanting to stream. And the same thing with my YouTube. I'm just really bad at uploading shit because I have to take the time to edit clips that I have, and then I have to edit, and then I have to just upload it and do it. It's a bunch of that rigmarole that I don't want to do because I'm lazy, even though I can do this easily only because it's just audio, right? And then just some little bit of like background imaging for YouTube. That it's easy to do. And again, it's just me rambling to a fucking microphone to whoever's going to listen to this. It's the easiest thing you can do. So it's the same thing with anything. If you want to keep a presence, you have to constantly be doing things. You have to constantly put yourself out there. If you don't, you're going to get lost in everything. And it's same. If it's like that on the internet, it's the same thing like that on dating apps. And the reason and the way I found this out is because, like, I think it was Badoo that first did it. I had notifications on for that app in terms of the app telling me, like, ooh, so-and-so likes you. Come and see who it is and buy our service. Shit like that. Not, I don't have those anymore. I don't have those notifications anymore. Because they're fucking annoying. The only notifications I have are somebody likes me, somebody doesn't, and I don't get those notifications on that app, at least, because nobody fucking uses it. I think it's all just a bunch of fucking dead accounts that are just on there. But I got a notification from this app once saying, "Hey, you haven't swiped in a while. You've fallen off." Pretty much. That's what it pretty much said. And I was like, huh? What? And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, it kind of makes sense. Again, like, if you don't have a constant, like, flow of you being out there, nobody's going to see you. So, yeah, all these apps do that. And that's kind of the first draw into their premium service that they draw you in with. It's like, hey, you want to be seen, right? Well, here, if you buy our premium service, you can get seen more because you'll get more super likes, or you'll get more swipes a day. You'll get unlimited swipes so you can stay on the board. It's before, when it was cheaper, I was for it. Now it's like you guys just upped it because nobody can go outside, and it's like, well, fuck it, we have to. I don't think you had to. I think if you kept it at $9.99, more people would be more into doing it. But no, like, after seeing that it's $20 fucking dollars and you're not getting a lot, sure, I don't get ads anymore. Cool. I don't give a shit. Having ads on Tinder was probably the least inconvenient thing, because it wasn't like I was being intruded with a fucking black screen and then cut to an ad. No, the ads on Tinder were so I didn't give a shit. Is pretty much the thing. I didn't give a shit when I saw an ad because it acted like a swipe left or right. If you want to open the ad, swipe right and it takes you to another page, or just swipe left and you just get rid of the ad. That's it. The only time I complained about ads is when I bought the fucking service. I was still getting ads, and I was like, hey, motherfuckers, I paid $20 for this and I'm getting ads when it says I'm not supposed to. You want to fix that? And they fixed it, but they never told me. It just stopped happening. But yeah, it's just not, at least Tinder Plus is not worth it. Maybe Bumble Plus, whatever theirs is, maybe it's worth it. But even then, Bumble has more stuff you can look for. It has a best friend mode and has a business mode, which I'm surprised people even use those. It's weird that people use those. It's like, how does that work, right? I know the best friend, it's because it's dumb, right? It's because before because only women can message you, but then it's like, okay, well, when I move to the best friend tab, anybody can message you. I can message you, blah, blah, blah. Actually, no, wait, I think you still have to be messaged by the other. It doesn't make sense. All I'm saying is Bumble sucks. Don't download Bumble. Don't do OkCupid. Don't do Badoo. Don't do any of these other fucking Meet Me's or anything. Just stick with Tinder because it's the dominant one. I think we can finally end it on that. Just get Tinder if you want to. At least for now, until shit clears up. Or if you don't give a shit, just go out and meet people, get gonorrhea, whatever. COVID gonorrhea, whatever. I'll take another sip of this shit. So it is spooky season. And I've got a lot of stuff planned. I just need to execute the stuff. Right? I did stream Saturday. Yeah, I streamed last Saturday. Probably gonna stream again this Saturday. I streamed some Squadrons. Star Wars Squadrons, my review of that, very simple. It's probably a 6.5 out of maybe 6.5, 7, maybe a 7. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's a good game. It's not the best. It's not bad by any means. It's got some issues that are slowly being fixed, slowly but surely. But at least they're focusing on getting it fixed first before they put stuff out. I hate it when a gaming company, decides to put their DLC or anything out before they fix the game. I think, if anything, especially when it's going to be free stuff, free DLC, just fix your game first, and then that way people can enjoy the DLC or the content that you're going to put out a whole lot more, instead of just whining even more and then maybe even blaming the DLC for fucking it up even more. Take notes, Modern Warfare. But, and Battlefield 5. The Squadrons isn't bad. When the game works, it's great. Personally, I've had trouble with controller issues. Buttons not registering because the frame rate fucks up sometimes. Connection issues, even though I have a really good connection, there's a bunch of stuttering. So I don't know if it's server issues or just I'm being lied to by Spectrum, which wouldn't be a fucking surprise, because we just upgraded to one of the highest packages. So either we're being fucked with, or again, maybe EA is not great with servers that well. From my memory, they're not good at having servers, especially with newer games. So maybe it's a server issue that they're going to fix, hopefully. At least to me, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some stuttering issues. Input issues from controllers. Sometimes I stop moving, or I come into the game not moving. Game lobbies they take fucking forever. Sometimes I'll even join a lobby. Happened 3 times in a row where I joined a game and it's the end game screen where it's showing the fucking scoreboard, and it's like, oh hey, thanks for joining in. Oh, also your team lost, so also we're kicking you out back to the main menu again, so try again. And then it happened 2 more times and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? The story is okay. It's nothing to write home about. It's better than Battlefront 2 2017's single player story, in that I actually gave a shit about some of the characters rather than none of them. So at least it did that. There's some great customization options with your starfighter, with your character as well. Really good stuff there. I really wish there was more personality to it that you can put into it, like especially with player customization. At least maybe they could have done some kind of Skyrim shit with it, where you can like fuck with the physics of your character and all that stuff. Like, I wanted to make a Porkins Jr. I wanted to have a fat star pilot have some trouble fucking sitting into his fucking X-Wing and going, I'm going down. Like, you know what I mean? If you haven't seen Star Wars, fucking see it. At least the original trilogy. That's my Star Wars PSA for today. Other than that, it's not a bad game. It has some issues that can be fixed, and when those issues are fixed, I think I would still give it a 7 overall, especially because the content that it has now is not that engaging. I think I haven't played in like 3 days. I played it yesterday, but before then I hadn't played in like 3 days because I just wasn't feeling it. And then I opened it yesterday because I had nothing better to do. So I'm already getting kind of tired of it, but not too much. There's only 2 modes. It's dogfighting, which is just team deathmatch, and it's just ships fighting each other. And then there's fleet battles versus AI and versus player people with AI. Just fucking whatever. And it's pretty much more akin to the old style space missions in the original Battlefront 2 from 2005, where you would, fight in space, and your objective was to either deplete your enemies' tickets or player count. Each side has pretty much a certain amount of respawns they can have, or tickets that they can use to spend to spawn another player. So you either deplete the enemy side of all their tickets, or you destroy their capital ship. And it was a lot more engaging in 2005's Battlefront 2, because not only could you destroy the ship from the outside, but you can actually dock inside the enemy ship and destroy it from within. So it kind of made it kept you more on your toes, because you had to not only fight in the sky, but you also had to make sure people weren't fucking docking into your ship. So I thought that was really fun. Those missions were really fun. They got rid of the whole docking inside the ship because, again, this is just a flight simulation game. So, of course, you're never going to be outside of your spaceship. You're never going to be walking around. In fact, when you're not in your spaceship, you're just fucking VR style teleporting around the room instead of just walking around to look at your ship. It's very odd. It's very weird. I wish they would have done where you can walk around the hangar bay or in the briefing room, but no, you're just teleporting like you're on VR, which I guess it's okay, whatever. But the fleet battles, it's just you destroy the ships, right? You destroy the capital ships, and there's a little more to it that didn't exist in the original Battlefront 2 style of it, which makes it a little bit more interesting. But because the game bugs out sometimes, because the controllers, for me, just aren't working sometimes, the controls get bugged out too, makes that a lot. It just makes it difficult to play sometimes. So that's why I don't spend too much time on it, other than it being just there's only 2 modes. It reminds me of Bleeding Edge, this game where it was like a third-person fighting game type thing, where like kind of like Overwatch with champions, where each person has their specific fucking niche or whatever the fuck that they fit in with in in the genre. Like they have their own abilities, and you fight for like there's like Hardpoint or King of the Hill was one of those in Bleeding Edge, and then there was one where it's like pick up these batteries to charge up a point, and that's it. Like it like kill confirmed in a way, even though you're not killing people to pick up the batteries, you're just picking them up from it only. What I'm trying to say is Bleeding Edge only had 2 multiplayer modes, and I believe it still only has 2 multiplayer modes. It wasn't a bad game. The combat was, it was simple. It wasn't anything too, out there. It was a Bleeding Edge, I believe, is actually made by, I think it's made by the people that did DMC, like the remake. I think. I feel like I heard that. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments the 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, or even just rate me. Just rate me. I'm pretty sure I might be a little bit wrong. I might be thinking. I feel like it is. I'll just say I hope it is. I think I hope. So, and I stopped playing that game because, well, one, nobody wanted to play with me, even though I thought it was fun. But the battery portion of the other, it was just so boring and so shit. It was just it sucked. Like the King of the Hill portion was fun, but the other one wasn't. It was only 2 modes, so it's like, well, shit, and it's random. You can't choose, I just want to play this mode. No, it's you either play one or the other, and usually it will try and do like King of the Hill battery collection, King of the Hill, like it will try to do it like at least where you play one or the other each time instead of just straight like 5 sessions of King of the Hill, things like that. So, I stopped playing the game, right? Because there's nothing to it. So yeah, overall, 7 out of 10 for Star Wars Squadrons. My recommendation is, if you have friends that want to play it, it's only $40, and rightfully so. I'm glad that it wasn't a $60 game for what they're putting out, which it shows that they're aware that they don't have a lot in it, even though there's a lot of customization stuff in it. It's not worth a $60 game with just 2 multiplayer modes and a very long tutorial sequence known as the story single player mode. That's all it is. It's just a huge tutorial stage, because the story initially, it just puts you in the cockpit of all the different fighters in that game, and it teaches you how to use them so you can use them in multiplayer. So it is just one big tutorial level and then 2 multiplayer maps, and that's it. Or 2 multiplayer modes. There's like maybe 5 or 6 maps, which they're fine. They're fun. They look great. It's a great looking game, but that shouldn't, warranted like a 10 out of 10 just because it looks good. It's a 7 out of 10 because of what we have to offer, what the game has to offer, and what I'm taking. And I'm taking that, and I'm looking at it, and I'm playing with it, and that's what I'm giving it. 7 out of 10. I recommend if you have friends that want to play it, and you also want to play it, and you can get friends, I would get it, because that game does require you to communicate and work with your fellow pilots, your squadron, because you're supposed to help each other out. Even in dogfights in real life, you have wingmen. Without a wingman, you're gonna keep dying and dying and dying without people helping you. So if nobody wants to communicate with you, what's the fucking point? That's why I recommend, especially for fleet battles, you need communication. You need to talk to people who want to be a support class, which nobody wants to be a fucking support class because they suck and the ships are boring. The game also needs more ships, which I hope they do. But anyways, if you don't have any friends interested in playing it, like mine, but I bought the game, so whatever. But if you don't have anybody interested in playing it with you, if you want to try it out, get it. I think if you have EA Play on Steam, excuse me, I'm gonna take a drink. That's getting a little dry. If you have EA Play on Steam, EA Play is only $5. I do recommend because you get a bunch of EA stuff. If you have EA Play, the game, you get a 10-hour demo. So I would actually recommend that more than buying the game, at least right now, just so that way you can see if you like it. Which I'm glad that EA has done that, which is really good, because it is for a niche audience. It's for people who want to have that simulator experience, because it is a simulator game with a lot of stuff you need to learn. It's not a complicated system, but it does require your attention. You do need to learn a bunch of stuff, but once you get the hang of it, it's a really fun game. And because it's not as complicated as like Microsoft Flight Simulator on like an expert level. It's very, very simple at its core, but it does require that you pay attention during like the story, and it does take some time to actually get used to, and it recommends you practice quite a bit, which I would also recommend practicing too, because it does help. But yeah, if you want to get it but you don't have friends to play with, get EA Play. It's $4.99, I believe, $5. Play the demo. It's 10 hours long. You have a 10-hour allotment, so you get 10 hours to play it, and then of course it'll be like, you want to buy it, and then you can buy it for $40. Just to try it out, I would say do it. $5 to try it out, it's not bad. And then of course, if you're like, I didn't like that, well, now you have a bunch of other EA games you can try out. Or you can just cancel the subscription at any time, and you'll keep the 1 month that you paid for. And then of course you won't pay for the other month next time. But yeah, I would either do that, or I would just wait either for more content to come out for the game, or I would wait for it to go on sale. I think that's what I would do. Even though it's only already $40, I would even wait a little bit longer, maybe for it to go on sale. I would more say wait for more content to come out. Wait to see if the game devs see this as a game that they want to keep providing stuff for. Don't let it become a Battlefield 5 situation type thing where they just looked at their game and were like, yeah, we can't. Even though we promised so many things, we can't do this anymore. That was probably the most saddest thing I've ever seen in like video game history in my time, is when the developers just fucking were like, yeah, no, we're just gonna stop. Never got any Russian DLC, never got any Stalingrad stuff, nothing. And we were this close to greatness, and yet, no, it didn't work. I mean, I wasn't even really playing the game at the time. I had gotten the game, I want to say, if not day one, like a couple days later, only because I had gotten the game, excuse me, I got in the game for like $40-something because I was a Battlefield veteran and that was a discount, which that's a big fucking red flag if I'm getting a discount for being a Battlefield member, as if that even fucking like matters. As if that's even worth anything, really. They really just wanted to sell that game. That game was just, it was fucking slated to just not work. It was destined to fail. Oh man, in so many fucking ways. And it did. It did. They didn't close the servers. They just stopped supporting it with DLC and stuff. So no more updates or anything really. Kind of getting just what you get. And right now it's got a kind of just like a cult following, cult audience, if you will, playing the game. And it sucks because Battlefield 3, Battlefield series in general, was one of my favorite FPS shooters. And then like second would be Call of Duty, and then third would be Halo. Excuse me. And now, because Battlefield 3 was my fucking favorite. I love that shit. Battlefield 4 was good. It's okay. Then I loved Battlefield 1. And then Battlefield 5 came out and I wanted to blow my brains out. Video games are weird. So yeah, I have plans for Spooky Month that need to happen. I just got Phasmophobia, or my friend gave me Phasmophobia. Thank you very much. And so we need to play that. If you're not familiar, Phasmophobia is a ghost hunting simulator in a way, where you and 3 others go into haunted houses and stuff, and you try to hunt for ghosts. And it's very atmospheric, horror based. And I even playing the tutorial, I was fucking scared, and I had lights on, and yet I was immersed. I was definitely immersed. I'm definitely excited to play with my friends. So that will be something, hopefully that will come to the YouTube channel soon. YouTube.com, Maddie CK. Also for the podcast will be on there too. And other streaming services. It's not even the end of the fucking podcast yet, and I'm plugging. And then I need to stream some other horror games that I have. Amnesia. The newest Amnesia game comes out on the 20th of this month, I think. I don't know if I want to get it. I know it's going to be like $30. And it seems interesting. But Amnesia Machine for Pigs was a real turnoff to those, to Amnesia at least. I still need to play Soma on Twitch. And I still need to finish both Resident Evil 7 and Layers of Fear 2. And I believe there's going to be a Layers of Fear 3. I feel like I heard that somewhere. Also, on my channel, if you've been to it, I played Observer, which is another game from Bloober, which did Layers of Fear 1 and 2. They are coming out with a second game, which I have a demo downloaded for. So that will be fun and interesting. I might play that on the stream. I might play some demos of things on there. I have some other just really shitty horror games that I've downloaded for free on Steam that I can play. I've got a lot of stuff that I need to do. And so I hope I will get my lazy bum off the bed, off this gaming chair, and actually do it. And so I'm very excited for all the spooky stuff. And for the podcast, I might even start talking about some spooky things too that happen in my life. I've got a couple of spooky things that have gone on. Maybe the next episode I'll talk about those. Might even talk about some spooky stuff in general that maybe happens in Texas. Big old goddamn Texas. There's a lot of haunted places here in Texas. I was looking it up. There's a shit ton of haunted places here. It's outrageous. And I want to go to all of them. I want to go exploring. Just during the daytime, not at night. If I'll tell you one thing, I don't think I'm afraid of ghosts. In fact, I want them to be real, mainly because I'm afraid of death. And knowing that there might be some kind of afterlife, even if it's everybody's a ghost, I kind of want that. Like, it would be fun to be a ghost, but just to have an answer to it's just nothing when you're dead. Like, that sucks. I'm already getting really bad anxiety. So let's get off of that. But I want to believe in ghosts. Some weird shit has happened to me before that could kind of warrant there being a ghost, maybe. So it's possible. I say anything's possible. So ghosts are possible, aliens are possible, whatever, what have you. Like, I'm more scared of real people. Real people are real, and they can be fucked up. They can be fucking crazy. So I'm more afraid of them than I am afraid of ghosts and demons, right? Like, if I'm going to go to an abandoned hospital or just an abandoned building in general, and it's nighttime, one thing, I'm not going alone. That will never happen. I have to go with at least one other person or a group of people, and we all have to be carrying a Bowie knife. That's just how it's going to work. Everybody has to have a fucking weapon on them. I don't care what it is. Baseball bat, butterfly knife, spoon. You can do some damage with a spoon. We just need to have protection. Abandoned places, whether they're like kept in check or they have security around them or not, there's bound to be some homeless people in there. I'm not saying homeless people are crazy, but some people that just decide to live in these abandoned places and maybe do crack are not the soundest of people. So my biggest fear is going to an abandoned place at night. Shit, even during the day, but mostly at night. And I don't find a ghost there. I find a fucking human being, like, laying in a like in the fetal position. I'm getting scared. Like, in the fetal position in the corner. Like, I shine my flashlight and I just see this body, just like with their legs and knees tucked up into their body, and then kind of just rocking slowly back and forth, kind of going, and then they stop, and then they slowly turn their head over their shoulder to see me, and then they start doing shit like that. Like, I'm either gonna run or I'm just gonna lunge at them and just attack them just to get rid of them, because nobody needs to see that. That is my biggest. That I just don't want to deal with. Even just crazy people just hanging around, right? Just people just looking for trouble, finding satanic cults, practicing voodoo shit or whatever in these places too. It's a fucking no-no. Fucking serial killers hiding out. No. We're going to go during the day. We're going to still have a big group of people. Excuse me. And that's just it. That's it. I do not want to go urban exploring by myself. Maybe if it's like a tour, like it's tour led into a fucking abandoned asylum with a bunch of other strangers, whatever. Maybe I'll do that alone. I've certainly gone exploring and gone on adventures by myself, but I haven't done that since I was like in middle school, high school days. Now I'm more cautious. I'm stuck in an apartment, and I want to experience it with other people because I think it would be fun. Also, I'm a coward. So, yeah, that's another thing. That's one thing about me about spooky stuff is that I'm not saying that ghosts and demons don't scare me. They do, but real people scare me more. Which is why when I sometimes just go on YouTube and I let real scary stories play on in the background, that shit gives me more creeps than people talking about ghosts and stuff. Like people talking about like how somebody tried breaking into their apartment, or like a stalker story, or some weird shit happening from humans fucking with other humans. That shit makes my skin crawl more than I saw a specter in my basement, and he drew on the walls in red crimson blood. Get out! get out, like that, and like that's creepy, but it's not like, oh shit, because most likely it didn't happen. Not saying it didn't, but what's more likely, a fucking crazed psychopath trying to kill you, or a fucking Casper the Friendly Bitch Boy? I don't know. Like, what's more plausible, right? So yeah, maybe next episode I'll talk about some of the creepy stuff that's happened to me, and that's happened to my sister and stuff, my roommates. So I can talk about that. And then, talk about some stuff about, like, just haunted stuff in general. Something that, like, things that, like, Jimmy my Russells. I know I said that wrong. I'm realizing I did. We're just going to ignore it. Leave a 5-star review if you ignored it. Oh, man. What an episode. What an episode this has turned out to be. I guess we can end with a cute little story. We'll talk about one kind of creepy, some people might find it spooky thing. We'll talk about it. Let's talk about the time I had a cockroach climb into my ear. Now, I'm going to preface this story with some backstory. I was never afraid of cockroaches when I was a kid. And even before the cockroach in my ear incident. I didn't really care for them. I didn't hate them, but I also didn't like them. We had this mutual thing of, if you don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you. It was with every bug. If you're not fucking with me, I'm not gonna kill you. Unless you're a spider. Okay, spiders creep me the fuck out. Even if it's like a little baby, I'm gonna fucking kill it. I don't care. I'm sorry, but they're just protecting you. They're protecting you from your bugs. I don't give a shit. Then this isn't your home. This is my home. Okay, it's my home. Leave me alone. So I had this mutual thing, and it was to the point where, if I saw a cockroach in like my bathroom back home, just crawling around the wall, I'd say, hey, I'm going to name you Chester. For some reason, I would always name these cockroaches Chester or Charlie. I guess I thought that in my brain, if I named them, it would kind of humanize them in the way where maybe they won't fucking bother me if I give them a name. If I put them on the same pedestal as a human, they might respect me. And they might see that I respect them and their privacy. So they would leave me alone. I leave them alone. Perfect balance. Well, that changed. Because most of the time, it's like, oh, if you see a bug, just leave it alone. It's not bothering you. You're not bothering them. Voila. Except people don't tell you that cockroaches just don't give a shit. They're kind of like rats. They don't give a shit. They'll climb all over you. They'll fucking do whatever they want. And they don't care if you're going to hit them or not. Same thing with cockroaches. They don't care if you're going to kill them. They kind of just want to fuck with you. It's fucking disgusting. So, to start this story off, my mother would tell me the story as a kid, where when she was 17 years old, she had a cockroach crawl in her ear. And she would talk about how it was painful, how it made her cry, and how it makes her laugh now, blah, 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 those sort of things. And she would tell me this story not often. It would be occasionally, like maybe every 2 years, 3 years, whatever, so on and so forth. But throughout my childhood, I've heard of it. I've heard the story more than once, which is cool. Great. Love it. Fast forward to when I'm 17. It's a Friday. Just got home from school. I want to enjoy my weekend. And, my mom brings up the story again during dinner. Great place to talk about cockroaches being in ears at the dinner table. You kind of just throw it off as like, oh, it's just your parent telling them like their stories again. Maybe there's a message in it. I don't fucking know. There's no message in this fucking story. Whatever. I'm 17. She's telling me this story about how when she was 17, she had this cockroach climbing her ear. Fast forward. It's the middle of the night, early morning. I suddenly wake up to this popping in my ear. And I'm immediately annoyed. If there's one thing you're going to learn about me throughout all of this, is you're going to notice that I just wake up annoyed constantly in my life. I don't think I've ever woken up and I'm like, yes, oh, the day is starting. I'm never going to do that. Probably ever. I maybe have done it a couple times, but most of the time, yeah, it's just, I'm going to be annoyed when I open my eyes and I'm still here. But anyway, I wake up to this popping sensation in my ear. Other than being annoyed, I immediately assume that I now have an ear infection, or I'm just starting to get one. So not only am I thinking my weekend is ruined, but now it's like, fuck, now I have to deal with this. And it's gonna hurt. It's already starting to hurt. So I'm here, I'm feeling this popping sensation. And I kind of just lay there. Kind of just dealing with the little bits of sharp pain. Not too painful, but it's an annoyance. It's inconvenient. And then, I don't know, I just get the idea that maybe if I massage my ear, it'll help, you know? So I start massaging the back of my ear a little bit. Nothing's happening. You know, I'm not getting any relief. And then, so I'm like, I'll put my pinky in my ear, you know, I'll just shove my pinky in my ear and give it a little wiggle. Not sexually. This isn't sexual. It sounds like I'm talking about it, like, in a sexual way, like putting my pinky in my ear, and then I'm just gonna just wiggle it a little bit. It's not sexual. I'm not gonna get off through this. I'm in pain. Some people get off through pain. I don't. Fuck you. I don't. So I put my pinky in my ear, and I start kind of wiggling a little bit, kind of just to hopefully just loosen up my ear muscles. I don't fucking know. I'm also doing it to check to see if it's what do you call it? Bloated? If it's swollen. There we go. I'm trying to see if it's swollen. It's a little swollen. So, you know, I wiggle it a little bit in there some more, and then I take it out. And for some reason, I have just this urge to look at it. Sometimes I just won't. I'll just, like, this seemed like I just have an ear infection. I'm just going to do that and then just not look at it. But I decided to look at it. And I look at my pinky. And I see a cute little decapitated cockroach leg on it. And I begin to immediately panic as I go from DEFCON 5 to 1 in the matter of milliseconds. I am starting to lose my mind. There's a fucking cockroach in my ear. Immediately went from ear infection to cockroach. I'm just like, I didn't, maybe accidentally, maybe fucking scooped up the, like, no, it's in my ear. There's a cockroach in it. I have to get the fuck out of here. I have to get it out of my ear. All the while, when I just did that, I'm hearing this and feeling, and I'm like, fuck me. That's not popping. That's not like my eardrum trying to pop and shit. That's the cockroach panicking because it's stuck. It's stuck in my ear. It's not a big cockroach, but it's 1 inch long. It's not a big guy. It's a small, medium, like an age cockroach. It's like a middle cockroach. I don't know how the fuck you would. It's a young cockroach, and it's doing this in my ear, and I'm like, fuck. It's stuck, and it's trying to get free, and by getting free, it's trying to dig deeper, but it can't. So it's just doing that in my ear. So I'm starting to lose my mind while freaking the fuck out because I don't know what to do. Even though I'm 17 years old, I'm afraid to go wake my parents up because I don't want to bother them or inconvenience them. I don't want to do the meme where I just open their door and I'm standing there. I'm like, Mother, I need assistance. I have thrown up all over my penis. let's not say that again. Like, ever. God, that's awful. I'm not there at the door saying, Mother, I pissed the bed. Like, I'm not doing that. That's better. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. But in my mind, I'm like, it's going to come off like that. So I'm kind of trying to figure out, should I just deal with it myself and figure out how to get it out? So I'm like, fine, let's try and see. Maybe it's not even a cockroach. Maybe I'm freaking out. Even though all the while I'm like hearing this shit. So I'm like, fuck. Okay, so I go to the bathroom, turn the lights on, grab a Q-tip, and I just start trying to, fuck with it in my ear. What I'm trying to do is like this scooping motion. So I go in, scoop. I'm trying to pry it out, pretty much. And then all the while it's just like it's getting crazier, more erratic as I put it in, and then it goes back to like this when I take it out. It's not sexual. It's not sexual at all. But saying these words make it sound sexual. So after no luck, I'm like, fuck. There's only one thing I can do. I have to go wake the Rants up. Gotta go to the pair Rants. Mind you, this is about 4:30 in the morning. And my dad has to go to work at 7. And my mom doesn't work. So it's like, fuck. All right. So I kind of pace the living room a little bit. I'm like, how am I going to do this? Okay. All right. I'm just going to open the door and be like, hey, hello. It's me, your son, Matthew. Can you help me? No, that's not going to work. Hello, mother, father. We have a situation. No, that's not going to work. Fuck. After a couple of minutes, I'm just like, I'm just going to go in there. I'm just going to go in there and I'm just going to try and wake him up. So I go in there and I kind of slowly open the door. Like, I'm not trying to scare them. I end up scaring them. Open the door and I'm like just standing there in the creepiest motion, just standing there stiff and going, Mom, Dad, Mom, Dad. And it's I don't know what would have been creepier. Me standing there stiff as a fucking board at the doorway saying this, or would it have been creepier if I walked up and stood over one of them and just said and started poking them, going, Mother, Father, Mother. I don't know, but I stood at the doorway and and eventually, like after saying it a couple times, they woke up, and they woke up groggy. And they're like, what's wrong? What's going on? And my mom is the first to wake up, so I go, hey, look, I think there's a cockroach in my ear, and I immediately burst into tears. Because I think it's true. There is definitely a fucking roach in my ear. And, she doesn't question it. She doesn't throw me off like, oh, you're imagining things. She immediately is like up. Like a good mother. She's like, all right, let's to the bathroom. Let's go. So she goes in and she takes one look in my ear. She goes, yep, there is definitely something in there. And it's moving. And I was like, fuck. All while I'm getting this shit in my ear. So she tells me, yep, there's definitely something in there. However, we can't go right now to the doctor until your grandmother wakes up, which is around the same time my dad goes to work. And so we can't go until your grandmother wakes up so she can take us. So I'm like, what do you expect me to do? Do you expect me to go back to sleep? She goes, can you try to? And I'm like, no. So she goes back to sleep. Dad goes back to sleep. I'm like, fuck. So then I just go and I sit there in the living room, wide awake, staring at nothing but darkness. All the while, this is going on. And I'm slowly going fucking insane. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I can't do this. I'm in pain. This thing is fucking going to kill me. I think I'm going to die. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have died. I would have gone deaf for sure. After it got removed, I could have gone deaf. So after just sitting there, I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to go kill it. I can't deal with the scratching. It's so fucking annoying. It has to stop. So I go, turn the shower on, and I'm like, I'm 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to get ready for the day. I'm going to take a shower, and I'm also going to kill this fucking thing that's in my ear. So then I grab a couple Q-tips, go into the bathroom, and I'm just doing the classic waterboarding fucking stabbing the shit out of my ear technique. Of just stab, 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 turn my head over, let water go in, fucking drowning it, stab, 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 drowning, stab, 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 all the while maybe trying to pry it out myself. But of course, no avail. That fucker is stuck. That's how big he is. He got stuck in my small ear hole. And so then after a while, this kind of just, it stops. It kind of slows down and then stops. Now I'm just getting like, my heartbeat, I can feel my heartbeat in my ear. My eardrums pounding. It's just immense pain. And so I get this for like until 7 a.m. I'm just sitting there staring into darkness until my dad wakes up and gets ready for work, and he goes, "Did you not go back to bed?" I'm like, "No." "Are you seriously going to ask me that?" He's like, "Nah, I guess not. I'm sorry." Goes to work. My grandmother wakes up. This bitch wakes up. And my mom's awake too. She wakes up, she goes, "Oh, you're awake early." And I go, "Yep. Couldn't go to sleep because there's a cockroach in my ear." She goes, "What?" "Yep, there's a cockroach in my ear and I need to go to the doctor." My mom chimes in, "Yeah, we need to go take him to the doctor right now. He's had it since like 4 in the morning." Grandmother does a big, ugh, and then starts arguing with my mom in Spanish. Pretty much she's just saying, "I don't want to take him. I don't want to do anything right now. I just want to eat my breakfast." They argue. Pretty much the consensus is we can't leave anywhere until she gets to eat her food. So now I have to wait another fucking hour. So it's now been about 3 hours now since I've had a roach in my ear. Finally around 8:30, finally go to my doctor, my pediatrician, hoping that they can just see it as clear as day as my mom did and just fucking take it out with some tweezers or whatever. We get there, wait a couple minutes. I don't think we wait too long. And, the introductory nurse comes in. The person that goes, "Okay, so what are you in here for?" Does like your temperature, your height, and all that. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here because there's a cockroach in my ear." And she kind of like looks at me, dumbfounded, like, "I'm sorry?" I'm like, "There's a cockroach in my ear." And she's just like, I feel like she wanted to laugh, so she was holding back laughter. It looked like she was. And she goes, "Okay, sure, all right. And how long has it been in there?" I'm like, since about like 4 in the morning." She goes, "Okay." "Okay. All right." Does everything. Checks my temperature, height, all that stuff, blood pressure. And then they set me into a room, and they tell me to wait. And we're waiting for a couple minutes. And another nurse comes in. And he introduces himself, and he goes, "I'm so-and-so. Doctor's not in today." And I'm like, "God fucking damn it." So my doctor's not in, which means 2 things can happen. 1, this will be the best goddamn nurse I've ever had. Or 2, I'm about to have the most incompetent motherfucker fuck with me. Turns out to be the latter. So he asks me, just like any doctor, "So it says you're in here because you have a cockroach in your ear? Is that correct?" "Is that correct?" And I'm like, yes, in my right ear, there's a cockroach in my ear. It's been in there all morning, and it hurts. Can you get it out? So he brings out the little microscope thing that they can put in your ear to check you out. He puts it in my ear, and he goes, "Well, I don't see anything in your ear. Are you sure there's a cockroach in there?" And I'm like, "Most definitely." My mom chimes in, "Yeah, I saw it. It's in there. Like, it's clear as day that there's something in my ear." And so he's like, looks a little bit for like a couple more seconds. I don't see anything. It might be in there very, like, deep. So he puts it away, And he grabs another nurse, and they bring out that camera that's on this long, skinny black tube thing, or like it's like an antenna with a camera at the end. Usually you can put that into somebody's throat and you can see their insides, blah, 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 all that stuff. So they're like, okay, well, let's set this up. Maybe it's deep in your ear. We're going to put this camera in there. We're going to try and find it. They put it in my ear, and they're like, yep, still can't see anything. Are you sure? I'm like, yes, 100%. There's a fucking cockroach in my ear. If anything, there's at least something there. And they go, okay, all right. Well, we can't see anything. So, if you want, we're not going to treat you at all for anything, but we can direct you to another doctor, and we'll make the appointment for you. And I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. My mother's the same way. You got to be shitting me. But we go, okay, fine. Where's that? Right. It's a couple miles from here, clinic. Pretty much going to a hospital at this point. So it's like, fuck me. So, okay, we leave. Grandmother's more upset that we have to go somewhere else now. We have to go somewhere else where we have to wait 2 more hours to be seen. All the while, I'm still getting this shit in my ear. With the occasional... And I'm like, fuck, it's still alive. Fuck, I'm scared. But this is just part of my ear bubbling up, or just, fucking whatever. My ear is just in pain at this point. The cockroach is dead. It is dead. So, finally, 2 more hours later, this nice gentleman greets me in. He goes, okay. So, I heard you have a cockroach in your ear. I'm like, yes. Yes, I do. And they're like, it says they couldn't find it. Your pediatrician said they couldn't find anything in your ear. I'm like, correct, but there's definitely something in there. And he goes, okay, let me take a look. Doesn't grab the little telescope that they use. He just looks at it directly first, and he goes, yep, there's a cockroach in there. And I'm like, you can see it? He's like, oh yeah, definitely. He even grabs he goes, yeah, let me even take a look with this. Takes a look, grabs the little fucking telescope thingy, puts it in my ear, goes, yeah. And it's a pretty good size, too. And I was like, fuck. Okay. What's going to happen? He's like, I'm just going to pull it out. I'm like, just going to grab some tweezers and pull it out. It's like, I can see it. He's like, I don't understand how they couldn't. It's like, me neither. So he grabs some tweezers, and then he starts trying to pull. It's like, all right, I'm going to do it. Puts tweezers in. Wow, he's really in there. I'm going to have to cut him in half and pull him out piece by piece. And I was like, it sounds great. It sounds great, Doc. All the while, I'm in fucking pain. So he puts the tweezers in there. He snips away at it. I can feel the snipping. And he goes, okay. On 3, I'm going to pull. 1, 2, 3, pull. And he pulls and he yanks out 1/2 of the cockroach. He goes, all right. Half of the way there. All right, almost done. Puts it aside. All right. And I can't see him doing this. I'm just looking straight ahead, wincing in pain, and I'm just like, just get it out, just get it out. He goes, okay, last step. 1, 2, 3, pull. Yanks it right out. Boom. I finally have some relief. It still fucking hurts, but goddamn, does it feel good to have nothing in my ear. So he goes, yep, there we go. Did it. Simple as that. You want to see it? And I'm like, And before I can even say no, he just shows it to me. And it's a good-sized cockroach. All cut in half. It's like, see? Simple as that. It took like no more than like 5 minutes just to do that. And so he's like, yep. You did a good job too, killing it too. I've heard people go insane after hearing that scratching and feeling it in their ear for just days or like hours at least. People go insane from that. And I'm like, that's great to hear. Yeah. Also, if you didn't kill it, it could have ruptured your eardrum to the point where you could be deaf in that ear forever. And I'm like, that's amazing, Doc. Wow. Thank you for letting me know. Jesus Christ. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. I had a cockroach in my ear, and it got taken out by a cool doctor. And I now am deathly afraid of them. I hate them. Every time I see one, I have to kill them. Every time. God, and for years I couldn't go to sleep without putting earplugs in. Because I was afraid. Oh, man. And then recently, about a year ago, when I worked at JCPenney, I was asleep. I woke up, and I thought I woke up with an ear infection. But it felt odd. It felt too familiar. I knew it wasn't an ear infection. I knew there was a bug in my ear again. But I didn't feel anything in my ear. So it was odd. That's what made it odd. So I was like, okay, I'm freaking out. It is an ear infection. Fuck me. I tell my sister, I'm like, hey, got an ear infection. Possible bug is inside my ear, but I'll keep you up to date. Because even like that day, like I was getting these poppings, kind of like that feeling in my ear, and then it just stopped. So I was like, okay, I think I'm good. Another day goes by, get that for a couple minutes, and then just stops. So I'm like, I'm thinking this is a weird ear infection. I hope. Then I'm at work. And part of my job at work was to deal with online orders in the way of when somebody made an online order and they came to pick it up, I was the guy that they would talk to. They'd be like, hey, I have an online order to pick up. This is at JCPenney. And pretty much sign them in. And then I would go grab their package, sign them out. Boom, they get their stuff. As soon as this woman comes up to me, I get this crazy popping in my ear. And I'm trying to keep my composure, not trying to freak out. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you're here? Yeah, just sign in. Okay. Come on. Hurry the fuck up, bitch. And I'm like, okay, I'll be back with your order. And I slightly jog and then turn into a sprint. I run all the way to the back room where we keep the stuff. And I stand there. And I put my pinky in my ear. And I start wiggling it around. It's not sexual. Put my pinky in my ear, wiggle it around, and voila, tiny little fucking beetle. I think it looks like a beetle. It's a bug. It's a tiny bug was in my ear, and I fucking kill it immediately. And I'm just like, huh. For 3 days, that thing's been in my ear. So I messaged my sister. I'm like, hey, it was a bug. And as I'm typing that, I'm like, I hope it didn't lay eggs in me. Send. Good news, didn't lay eggs. Bad news, had another fucking bug incident. And so now it's a constant fear that I have of just more bugs just getting even more stuck inside me without my consent. Oh man, what an episode. What an episode. All right, I think we're just going to wrap it up there. So thank you again, guys, for watching another episode of the Exclusively Solo Podcast. And if you need to be reminded, we are on multiple platforms. We are not on just Spotify, but we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Overcast, you name it. And of course, we're still on YouTube if you want to use that. And again, to reiterate, no, I do not videotape myself for these podcasts. It's just strictly audio, but I put it on my YouTube channel a lot later than the audio ones, just in case if people want to listen to it on YouTube, they can. And it'll be on a playlist there as well. And then, of course, those of you who use Spotify for their podcast, just to give you a quick heads up, if it is still up there, there are 2 versions of the podcast that are accidentally on there. The version that you need to keep an eye on and follow will be the one with the second episode linked in it as well. So don't follow the one with just the first episode. Follow the one with both the first and the newest episode. That's as easy as it's going to get until I figure this out from either both Anchor or Spotify. Because that's what we're having the trouble with, is that it accidentally duplicated. So until that gets figured out, just make sure you follow the one with multiple episodes and not the one with just one episode. should be very simple and easy to figure out. But then again, nothing's ever easy in life. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I hope you are cool and stay in school. Unless you're doing Zoom calls, stick with those Zoom calls. Don't be a douchebag. All right, get the fuck out of here. I'm leaving. See you guys later.